Hey guys, it's Adam back with a brand new episode of Living in Denver. This one is a must-watch if you're on the fence about whether or not Denver's the place for you. I'm going to be sharing with you guys today 7 reasons from a Colorado and Denver native why I think Colorado and Denver specifically just really cannot be overlooked as a place to consider. So looking forward to sharing all of this with you guys today. Stay tuned. And by the way, you definitely want to stick around until number 7 because this one you're not going to believe. Okay, let's go. All right, so as I said, today's going to be all about 7 very unique reasons of why I think you should consider Denver, Colorado as potentially your next place to call home. But before we get started, just a quick plug. My name is Adam Lang, Colorado native, licensed realtor here in Denver, Colorado, and I just love making videos like this. All that info is down below. I would love the opportunity to connect with you. Even if you're not considering moving for another year or two, I could still provide you some value, and more than anything, I just want to connect with you. So enough about that info down below. Reach out, we'd love to talk to you. But for now, let's go ahead and get started. Again, 7 reasons why Denver could be your next home. All right, so jumping right into number 1, and by the way, these aren't in any particular order, but the first thing I really want to talk about is how in Denver, you could really have your outdoor lifestyle built into your week. And what I mean by this is, there's a lot of other people that talk about how Denver is so great because you're close to the mountains and you have all this great skiing, mountain biking, camping, just the list goes on and on. But what I think is really important to also realize is within Denver itself, you also can really have a very fun, adventurous outdoor lifestyle just throughout the week, even if you're working Monday through Friday. Denver and Colorado always have had this claim to fame of 300 days of sunshine a year, and that is true. In fact, that's even more days of sunshine than Miami, which is kind of crazy to think about. But what I think is really cool about Denver is you don't have to get up to the mountains to really enjoy yourself. There are so many things you can do in Denver when it comes to just outdoor healthy lifestyle. And a couple that I'll share with you, first and foremost, is just the amount of parks we have here and all kinds of really robust trail systems to pretty much get you anywhere you want to go on bike or by foot without having to deal with traffic, without having to worry about getting hit by a car, or if you're really into getting your heart rate up during maybe a run or a fast walk, you don't have to continue to wait for stoplights and have your heart rate go down and then back up. You could really enjoy just being on these private trails. So one that I really wanted to share with you guys today that not that many other people even know about yet, which is crazy, is what's called the Denver Orbital Trail. And they've been building this out now for the last few years, and it's finally at its final stages of completion. And what's so cool about it is it's actually 28 different segments. And if you do all of them, it literally goes in this big circle around pretty much everywhere you want to be in Denver. So I think it's almost 200 miles, the entire circuit. So obviously you can't do that in one sitting. But if you are somebody maybe from out of state and you're really serious about moving out to Denver, this could be an awesome way for you just to kind of explore Denver by doing this trail system, picking maybe a segment a week to tackle. And before you know it, after a month or two, you're going to be able to, have pretty much explored the entire Denver metro area through these different trail systems. So that's just one example, though, of how Denver really does go above and beyond helping you create this outdoor, healthy, active lifestyle in Denver without having to get up to the mountains. So outside of that orbital trail, there's also, though, just a ton of great parks, just to name a few: Sloan Lake, Cherry Creek. One of my other really favorites is Washington Park, which is probably one of the most well-known in all of Denver. But there's just a ton of great parks as well. And you have such a great level of just ability to socialize and just connect with other people that also might be involved in the same kind of stuff that you're interested in. So, if you are moving here from out of state, just know that you can have a lot of stuff to do right here in Denver without having to make the trip up to the mountains. All right, so let's talk now about the second thing I want to share with you, second point. And this one's somewhat similar to number 1. That's why I wanted to have it be the next one I talk to you about. And that's how you can really access nature without sacrificing the city life. So, in that first point that I shared with you about that active, outdoor, healthy lifestyle, that is, again, 100% true. But what's cool about the second point, I want to talk a little bit more about nature. So you do have all these amazing parks, like I said, Sloan Lake, Wash Park, Cherry Creek, that Denver Orbital Trail. But there's also so many cool, more nature-related activities that are within a 15 to 20-minute drive. If you guys are concert, music fans, you guys are obviously probably already aware of Red Rocks Amphitheater, but this is an example of a place that you could get to from most areas within Denver in about 20 minutes or less. And in the Red Rocks Amphitheater Park, not actually going to a concert there, but just that surrounding area all around Red Rocks, there are so many cool trails, a lot of wildlife over there, lots of deer. I've even seen a bobcat over there before, just all kinds of nature-related benefits to just, again, being in the city, but you don't have to take this 2-hour drive up to Vail or up to Steamboat Springs to get your fix for the week. So there's so much nature just all around Denver, and I just love that about Colorado and Denver specifically. I lived up in the mountains for about 15 years. I lived up near Aspen in a place called Carbondale, and when I moved back down to Denver in 2019, I was really kind of a little bit hesitant. I was worried that I was going to be sacrificing and giving up all of that outdoor kind of more connection that you can get with nature when you do live up in the mountains. And I was just so pleasantly surprised that just, after getting back down to Denver and just making an effort to go to places like Red Rocks, some of the other parks kind of in the southwestern corner of Denver, like Roxborough, just a lot of great outdoor places you can go that are, again, within a short car drive. You can go after work on a weeknight and still feel like you're escaping the city life, and you have a chance to kind of breathe that fresh mountain air and just kind of escape, kind of reset a little bit. So I think for maybe some of you that are moving from places that are less populated or maybe more of that mountain type vibe, you're going to be able to find that in Denver. And don't worry, it's not going to be a 2-hour drive to get there. You can definitely find these types of areas within a short, 15 to 20 minute drive, as I said. Outside of that Red Rocks Amphitheater example, as far as actual places that you might consider living that are even closer to this type of stuff, I would just recommend, if you look at a map, you can see I-25. And I-25 is our main north-south interstate here in Denver. And if you look anywhere to the west of I-25, these are all great options because you're just that much closer to the mountains, to the foothills. So places like Golden, Wheat Ridge, Lakewood, Northwestern, Arvada, or you can even go a little bit further north up to Boulder. These are all areas that are just that much closer, and I think when it comes down to it, makes it that much easier to really make this, a reality on weeknights and just times where you only have maybe an hour or two to dedicate to getting out and doing something. You can still easily, achieve getting to some awesome places that are out in nature within that time period. So Denver really does have that great balance where you have this urban environment that's available to you with concerts and, all kinds of great restaurants and art and all that good stuff. Yet you do have just as much amazing nature-related activities that are, again, just a short drive. Okay, so keeping this train rolling, number 3, I want to talk about how Denver has really mild winters and it has a very quick snow melt. So this is something that a lot of people aren't aware of, especially, viewers like yourselves that are moving from out of state that reach out to me. They start asking me just about, where's the best place to live in Denver if we really just don't want to be dealing with snow all the time. And, unfortunately, Denver, we're in Colorado, so you are going to get a fair amount of snow in Denver. But what I wanted to share with you guys on this point specifically is that it melts so much faster than other places in the country, like the Midwest. Usually within 24 to 48 hours, the majority of that snow you're going to get in Denver is going to melt, especially in the springtime. Yes, December, January, it might stick around a bit longer, but even in those months, since we do have so much sunshine, those 300 days that I mentioned at the first point, the fact that we have so much sunshine, it does really help melt much quicker than other places that you might be coming from, where it sticks around for months at a time. Another thing that I'll also share, a little tip specific to homes and what you should be considering when maybe buying a home in Denver is, it sounds funny, but it's what direction the driveway is facing. And this is something that I think a lot of people aren't aware of, and they learn very quickly how important this can be just from a convenience and quality of life standpoint. So when you have a driveway, you always, if possible, want to make sure that it's a south-facing driveway. If it's a north-facing driveway, that's really the direction you want to avoid the most if possible. And that's because if it's a north-facing driveway, it's going to have the most minimal amount of sun exposure. If it's a south-facing driveway, you're going to get the most sun exposure. So this, maybe 6-inch snowfall that you'll get in January, if it lands on a north-facing driveway and you don't get out there first thing in the morning and shovel before maybe your car gets pulled out of the driveway, or maybe your kids walk on the driveway to catch the bus, whatever it may be, it just becomes that much harder to eventually get that snow off of the driveway and avoid just bunches of ice chunks, and it could just become a huge headache. And I'm speaking about this from experience. So just a good little quick locals tip: when you're looking at homes and you start to walk up and do some showings, and you're walking up the front of the house to go in and see the home, make a little extra effort to just think, hey, what direction is this driveway facing? I promise you, you'll be glad you did. All right, so number 4, this one I want to talk about how Denver consistently is ranking in the top 5 cities in America for the healthiest cities. And this ranking, it takes into consideration things like your BMI, your body mass index, just how much exercise the residents are getting, just stuff like that. And as you can imagine, since we do have so much outdoor activities available, I think that's probably the primary reason why we are always in this top 5. But there's also specific cities in the Denver area that always get ranked even higher as far as in the entire country, the most popular places to live for people that are into the outdoors or into healthy, active lifestyles. And the 2 that I'll share is Boulder. Go figure. It's pretty obvious, I think, for anybody that knows where Boulder's located and the type of intense athletes that it breeds. A lot of really, really famous endurance runners, a lot of cyclists, just a lot of those kind of extreme endurance type athletes. A lot of those people come from Boulder. So that's the first place. And then the second one is Castle Rock. Castle Rock's actually a little bit south of Denver. It's about maybe a third of the way if you're driving from Denver down to Colorado Springs. I love Castle Rock. If you guys aren't that familiar, I would definitely recommend digging a little deeper into Castle Rock. I've also got another video coming out in the next couple weeks all about Castle Rock that I'm excited to share. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that one. But just to kind of take this a step further about how that we do have so many just healthy, active residents here in Denver. I've already talked about all the great outdoor activities that are available if you do live here. What I want to talk a little bit more on this point, though, is just about all the other stuff that you just start to realize exists here that maybe didn't where you're coming from currently. Farmers markets every single week, a ton of different types of fitness studios, different types of yoga, different types of just really any type of activity you can think of. We have it here in Denver, and there's a pretty significant amount of people that are probably also into it. So you can really find your tribe here depending on what you're looking for. Also, a lot of great organic restaurants. Just everybody has a little bit higher, I think, awareness in Denver when it comes to just exercise, fitness and nutrition, just all that good stuff. So, and that's really important to me. I don't know about you guys, but I think when you have your environment established where the people that you're interacting with on a daily basis, the type of restaurants that are out your back door, the type of parks and trails, as I mentioned earlier, and just the social opportunities when it comes to a lot of these different types of fitness classes, when you have all of that available to you, it just makes it so much easier to hit your own goals and to stay on top of it for your own family and yourself. So I just think that's a great selling point for a lot of people about why Denver is a great place to live, is you can really kind of have a lot of the stuff that already exists here kind of elevate and bring you up just to kind of meet you where you want to be and hopefully motivate you to even get better. I know it does for me because there are some incredible athletes and just very fit people here. And that's just something that I think over time you really start to appreciate. Okay, so now let's talk about my 5th reason. This one's a little different. And this is just about how Denver has an incredible proximity to travel. So Denver International Airport is now officially ranked in the top 3 busiest airports in the world. Not even in the United States, but in the world. And this is kind of a pro and a con. Honestly, just to be straight with you, it's been a little bit annoying just seeing how much it's grown, just because what used to be a pretty simple, show up to the airport an hour before your flight. Nowadays, you really do have to get to the airport 2 hours ahead minimum, even if you're just doing a short domestic flight, just because you never know. And this airport is so big that there have been times where I get, there a little bit later than I should have, and it's a race to the gate just to make sure I catch my flight. But Denver International Airport, regardless, though, is awesome. They have over 215 destinations that it serves directly. There's just a ton of just amenities out there at the airport now when it comes to just convenience. And it's just a beautiful airport. So I think Denver International Airport is so nice also because it's so close to a lot of the neighborhoods and places that people choose to live. If you guys are not that familiar with Denver and you're looking at Denver on a map, Denver International Airport is just a little bit to the north and a little bit slightly to the east of like downtown Denver. And there's been so much growth over the last 20 years as I've kind of seen since I graduated high school back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Since then, I've really seen this big shift in where a lot of the new homes are being built. And a lot of these areas are close to Denver International Airport. And if that's something that maybe is really important to you, maybe you travel a lot for work or you just want to be really, really close to get to wherever you want to go on the weekends or just to go for travel, check areas out like Green Valley Ranch, or also one of my favorites, which is called Tennyson, also known as the Berkeley neighborhood. So these are areas that are just a little bit to the north of downtown Denver, making it even closer, where it's really only a 15 or 20 minute drive to the airport. But even like right now, I live down in southwestern Denver in an area called Littleton. It's pretty far away from the airport, but even for me, it's under an hour, usually about 45 minutes. And in fact, you can even get there a little bit quicker if you want to spend $10, $15 on a toll road known as E470. So just I think a good point to bring up for people is understanding how close Denver International Airport is and how available it really can be for anybody. All right, so now moving into number 6. Congratulations, you've almost made it through the entire list of 7. And number 6 is a big one for a lot of my clients, a lot of my just viewers like maybe yourselves that are watching this that are coming from areas that maybe are a little bit more humid than Denver. And with that humidity, a lot of times comes lots of bugs, insects, and just bad weather like hurricanes, tornadoes, that kind of stuff. So Denver, obviously, we have our fair share of types of extreme weather. Ours out here typically are going to be hail, really bad snowstorms and blizzards, and now we're even having issues with a lot of fires, wildfires. But we don't have crazy insects, bugs, we don't have a lot of humidity, and it's just a very pleasant place to live. And this is one of these other things that I don't think people talk about enough because it can be something that you don't even consider or really put high on your list of important reasons to move somewhere else until you're out here and you're like, wow, I'm sitting outside at 7:30 at night and there's no bugs and the weather's perfect temperature and there's no humidity and I'm comfortable. It's just something that just you don't think about until you're out here. And I love that. It's something I definitely take for granted a lot of times. And you kind of going that even a step further with the bugs, just, not having to deal with cockroaches and venomous snakes and all that kind of stuff. We really don't have any of that bad stuff. And we even are benefited even extra by having all kinds of really cool creatures and, things to enjoy out here with all the wildlife. I have a cabin up in Grand Lake, which is about 2 hours west of Denver. And up there specifically, we have some of the coolest wildlife ever. We've got black bear, moose, mountain lion, elk, and deer, really, really different kinds of birds. Just so many cool, amazing animals to enjoy just checking out when you're up in the mountains. And again, all we really have is a little bit of mosquitoes, and that's about it. We don't have gnats, we don't have all that kind of stuff. So anyways, just a very, very calm, easy to deal with type environment out here. And as long as you're prepared for a little bit of this weather extremes with the blizzards and maybe some of the wildfires, outside of that, I think we're very blessed and very lucky to have, a very easy to deal with climate here in Denver. Okay, so you guys made it. Congratulations, you made it to number 7. And the reason I kind of wanted to tease this one at the beginning is it's the only point that I wanted to share with you today that's a little bit more specific to real estate. And, I do a lot of videos. Every week I put out a new video just like this one, and some are a little bit more real estate focused. Some are a little bit more like this, where it's kind of like a pros and cons, or it's just some of the maybe more subtle things that people don't even think about when they are considering moving here to Denver. So I want to talk on this final point, though, just about how Denver is continuing to have really strong real estate appreciation. And, the last year especially, but really the last couple years, there's been a lot of just concern in the news, and a lot of people are very hesitant to even purchase homes right now because of all the kind of mixed messaging going on in the media and in the news, higher interest rates. This is a lot of stuff being thrown at us, right now when it comes to the housing market. And I just want to make a point on this last and final number 7 with you, is that Denver, despite all of that, is still always going to be, in my opinion, a very, very strong long-term appreciation city to keep your eye on. Denver is one of the few cities, the few places in the entire country where you really have this unique ability to be close to the mountains yet you're still outside of those where you're not dealing with the extreme, weather like you would living up in a mountain town like Aspen or Vail. However, you still are within just a couple hours at the most to get to these world-class ski resorts and just all kinds of beautiful, deep, faraway mountain retreats. It's just the perfect blend, in my opinion, of both urban and mountain type lifestyle. So with appreciation, the reason I'm saying all of that is because there's few other places in the country that offer that type of lifestyle. And despite, a little bit of ebbs and flows like we're seeing everywhere in the country right now, Denver still has been showing through actual numbers that it is strongly appreciating, especially when compared to other mid-sized markets. Some of the areas that I focus mostly on with my clients when I'm helping them buy and sell homes is anywhere a little bit on the western side of Denver or a little bit to the south. So specifically places like Wheat Ridge and Golden, Arvada, Lakewood, and also currently where I live down in Littleton. In all of these types of areas, we're seeing still significant appreciation. Instead of what we were seeing a couple years ago in areas like Highlands and Sunnyside, which was seeing as high as 10 to 12% annual appreciation. Even now, with all that other stuff going on in the news and media, we're still seeing 4 to 6% in some of these areas. So it's still, an area that's continuing to improve and have more and more popularity, and that's not going to change in my opinion. I think it's always going to be like that. So if you guys are considering moving and looking at buying a house out here, it is going to be a safe bet as long as you're able to identify a home and buy it at the right price point. So that kind of leads me into just, my only kind of ask or request from you today. All that info down below, it's popping up on the screen again. I would just love the chance just to connect with you guys. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to build a relationship. And if that day comes where you are considering moving here to Denver, I'm that person that maybe you could reach out to and ask a few questions and maybe get a little bit of local advice. And if you are looking to buy or sell, I could be that person too. And I'd love the opportunity to at least share how I could be of value to you. So with all that being said today, I hope you guys got just a little bit more of a perspective from a Colorado native on why Denver is such an awesome place still to live and why I think you guys should consider moving out here. If you didn't watch my video last week, I actually shared 5 reasons why you might not want to move here. So it might be worth also checking that one out. So if you haven't watched that one yet, I'll link it here in the screen. Check that one out too, because what's most important when it comes to real estate and just having a very solid foundation of understanding where you might want to move to, you got to weigh both sides. You got to understand why people really love a place, but also why some people maybe don't, and then take all that in and kind of formulate your own decision. So I'm hoping that after you guys watch this video, and hopefully you've watched that one now as well about the 5 reasons not to move here, that can at least be a big start for you to hopefully make that decision yourselves. And if you guys haven't also, please definitely check out my website down below. I've got a link for it. I have a brand new 2025. It's called my Locals Guide to Denver or Relocation Guide. But really what it is, I share 20 of my favorite neighborhoods all around Denver, the best parks and restaurants, coffee shops, farmers markets, everything you can think of. I share all of that with you for each of these 20 neighborhoods. And it's just a really good, valuable, free resource that you can take advantage of and maybe hopefully help you kind of get a little bit better idea of what few areas that I share with you in that maybe most speak to you and are maybe going to be the highest on your list of potential places to come out and check out. So definitely download a free copy of that. And then one last plug, I also do every single month a free live webinar where I really go in depth on just the buying process out here in Colorado and just really give you a lot of valuable tips on how hopefully you can succeed when that day comes on finding that perfect house, getting it for a great price, and just making sure that you're making the best decision possible when it comes to, for a lot of people, the biggest purchase they're ever going to make in their entire lives. All of that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And as always, really appreciate you guys. Love having you on another episode this week of Living in Denver. And I can't wait to share a brand new one with you guys next week. I'll see you then. Bye.